Welcome to the Deep Dive, the place where we turn complex research into applicable knowledge.
Today, we were taking a deep plunge into a collection of sources you shared with us.
And they're all focused on a theme of really rapid personal transformation.
That's right. Our mission today is to break down two major tools.
The first is all about overcoming that feeling of being stuck, of self-paralysis.
And the second, which builds on that, is a strategy for reclaiming your energy from, well, everyone else around you.
Okay, so a powerful pairing. We're starting with the self and then moving to our relationship with the world.
Exactly. We'll start with the famous 5-second rule, and then we'll get into the main event, the let them theory.
All right, let's unpack that starting point, the 5-second rule. It really came from a moment of just total stagnation.
Total. The author was, buried under debt, career anxiety, just general life overwhelm.
And here's the key thing. It wasn't that she didn't know what to do,
No, not at all. She had the list. Get up, start budgeting, look for a job. She knew.
but she couldn't execute. She was just trapped in this loop of her own fear and overthinking.
Which is such a human problem, right? That massive gap between knowing what to do and actually, doing it.
So what she discovered wasn't some complex new philosophy. It was, I guess, a tiny physical hack.
A tiny hack that works on a universal level. She found that the moment you have an impulse to act on something good for you, you've got about 5 seconds before your brain's defense systems kick in.
All the fear, the insecurity, the excuses.
They all rush in to talk you out of it.
And the mechanism is so simple, it's almost deceptive. You count backward, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then you physically move.
Right. And the backward part is absolutely crucial. It's not just counting.
Why is that? Why the reverse?
Well, it's all about interrupting a habit loop. If you count up 1, 2, 3, your brain can kind of go along with it and start thinking.
But counting backward, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
It requires focus. It acts like a launch sequence. It forces your brain onto a simple, immediate task. And it bypasses the part that's responsible for all that fear and analysis.
A prefrontal cortex.
Exactly. You basically short-circuit the overthinking before it can veto the action. You're pushed from thought into motion.
So it's like a cognitive disruption device, a little trick you play on your own brain.
You got it.
Yeah.
There's no time to process the fear of failure or the comfort of staying put. You're flipping a switch from paralysis to action.
And the core lesson here really is that you can't wait to feel motivated.
No, motivation isn't the requirement to start. It's the reward you get after you start. Action is the only thing that cures anxiety.
And the scale of this tool is what's really striking. It's not just some cute self-help trick.
Oh, not at all. We saw it applied to these profound life changes. Overcoming addiction, losing huge amounts of weight.
But the part that really stood out was its adoption by the medical community.
Yeah, the clinical application is where you see its undeniable power. Psychologists, doctors, they're now using the 5-second rule in therapy.
For things like PTSD, OCD, even clinical depression.
Because for someone who's dealing with, say, intense, intrusive thoughts, the rule gives them a tangible, immediate way to break that mental loop and force their body into the present moment. It stops a spiral. So the 5-second rule really tackles that internal fight. But that wasn't the end of the journey.
Right. Because even with that tool, she found she was still completely drained, constantly stressed.
And she realized the biggest drain on her energy wasn't internal anymore. It was external.
It was the constant, exhausting mission of trying to manage other people.
Their opinions, their judgments, what they expect from you, all of it.
It's that impossible mission we all seem to sign up for. Trying to control the uncontrollable. We waste so much energy.
And that energy waste is the prison, which is where these two magic words come in.
The let them theory.
It's a path to freedom, and it's really a dual concept. Let them and let me.
So let them is what? Releasing that burden of trying to micromanage everyone else's life.
Exactly. You step away from being the emotional police for everyone's drama, decisions, and reality.
And let me is the other half of that coin.
It's the powerful counterbalance. You take all that energy you just saved and you focus it only on what you can actually control.
Your own attitude, your actions, your response.
It's radical self-responsibility. And it's not a new idea, really. It has deep roots in ancient wisdom, especially Stoicism.
This idea of separating what's in our control from what isn't.
Precisely.
The anecdote about her son Oakley's prom night just illustrates this so perfectly. The immediate stress release.
Oh, yeah, she was spiraling, obsessing that he didn't want the corsage, panicking because they chose a taco bar over some fancy dinner.
And then the rain starts pouring down, threatening to ruin their outfits. She's trying to manage the entire experience.
And that's when her daughter, Kendall, steps in with the intervention.
Mom, if they want to eat tacos, let them.
And the big one, let them get soaked, let them get ruined.
And you could just feel the tension dissolve in that story.
Mm.
But, okay, let's pause there.
Mm-hmm.
Because someone listening might be thinking, okay, that's fine for prom night. But what about when a partner makes a decision that could really impact our finances? There has to be a line.
That's a great question, and the line is drawn at consequence and control. The theory isn't about being passive or abandoning responsibility.
So it's about recognizing you can't force an outcome.
Right. In the prom story, the stress was about her need to control the image of the night. The consequence of getting wet is, well, it's temporary.
So with the financial example.
If a partner's choice impacts your finances, the let them part is acknowledging you can't control their choice. They have autonomy, even to choose badly.
But the let me part is where you take your power back.
Exactly. Let me set a boundary. Let me make my own plan to protect myself from that risk. You control your response to their action, not the action itself.
And this is where we can ground the theory in some actual neuroscience. Dr. Aditi Nurikar at Harvard Medical School explains what happens when we're constantly in that state of trying to control things.
Yeah, stress isn't just a feeling. It's a physiological state that literally hijacks your brain.
So you have two modes, basically, your normal, rational brain.
The prefrontal cortex, or PFC, that's your CEO. It handles planning, logic, patience, your adult self.
But the second you perceive a threat, and that could be anything from a looming deadline to just someone's annoying behavior.
The amygdala takes over. That's the primitive reptilian brain, the fire alarm.
Yeah.
And it instantly flips you into fight, flight, or freeze.
And when the amygdala is active, it basically cuts resources to the logical part of your brain.
It starves the PFC. You lose patience, you can't think clearly, you just react. And this is critical. The sources say 7 out of 10 people are living in this state of chronic stress.
Wow. Constantly in survival mode.
Depleted, reactive, unable to work towards any long-term goals.
So if that's the problem, how do two simple words, let them, act as a reset button?
Because the amygdala is only triggered by things that feel like a threat to your survival or your control.
Okay.
When you consciously say, let them, you are sending a signal to your brain that this situation, it isn't worth the stress. You're intentionally detaching that negative emotion.
And that tells the amygdala to power down.
It does. The PFC gets its resources back, and you can think logically again about what to do next.
The example from the source is about being on a plane. That's perfect. You're trapped next to someone coughing with their mouth open.
The stress is huge because you can't control them, and the perceived threat of getting sick feels very real.
So your amygdala is firing on all cylinders.
Totally. And the solution was that swift 2-part application. Part 1, let them cough. I cannot change their behavior.
And part 2, the empowering part.
Let me cover my face with a scarf, put my headphones on. You refocus all your energy back onto your own defensive actions.
This applies so well to career frustration, where we often feel so powerless. Your boss is stringing you along on a promotion.
And you just stew in resentment. That's your amygdala just burning fuel. You can't control your boss's timeline.
So let them string me along.
And then let me take back my power. Let me update my resume, start networking, look for a place that actually values me. The focus shifts from their unfairness to your own agency.
Let's talk about one of the biggest external pressures. The fear of what other people think. The fear of judgment.
It's primal. It's the fear of being excluded from the tribe, and it stops us from doing so much.
Posting something we wrote, taking a big career risk. We're constantly editing ourselves.
And the theory offers a way to neutralize that fear, and it's by accepting a pretty uncomfortable truth.
Which is?
People are going to have negative opinions about you. It's just a fact. I mean, the sources point out we have little judgments about people we love all the time.
Right. Your spouse is annoying. Your kid is rude before their coffee. We still love them.
Exactly. Judgment is just a constant human reality. So if you know it's inevitable,
I'll let them judge.
let me live in a way that makes me proud. You shift the center of your gravity from their validation to your own integrity.
That clarity also helps with chronic comparison, which is just self-torture.
Especially now with social media. But there's a really important distinction to make.
Okay.
You have to stop obsessing over fixed characteristics. Someone's natural height, their metabolism, things you cannot change. It's just wasted energy.
But comparing the controllable stuff is actually useful.
It is their habits, their work ethic, their consistency.
Mhm.
And if you feel that sting of jealousy, like the example of Molly seeing her designer friend blowing up on social media,
Hmm.
the sources say don't dismiss that feeling. That jealousy is an invitation from your future self. It's showing you what's possible for you.
So you reframe the anger into fuel.
Yes. Let them lead the way. Let
Mm.
me get to work and put in the reps. You turn that negative feeling into an action plan.
What about emotional conflict? When you're dealing with what are essentially adult tantrums.
The silent treatment, the storming out of the room.
Right. When a grown adult is acting like an 8-year-old, it is not your job to manage their outburst.
Not at all. And Dr. Lisa DeMoore's work is great on this. Negative emotions are healthy. Frustration, heartbreak, they're normal responses.
But how they're expressed is where the boundary needs to be.
So when an adult is having that outburst, let them sulk. Let them erupt.
And let me be the mature one.
Let me remove myself. Let me set a clear boundary. You have to separate yourself from their emotional wave to make a clear decision for you.
Okay, so we've established that trying to manage or control other people just fails. What about influencing them? When you really want someone to change?
Our first instinct is always to push, to nag.
And the science says that is the worst thing you can do.
It's completely counterproductive. It triggers this deep human need for agency to feel in control of our own lives. Nagging just makes people dig their heels in.
So you can't motivate someone else to change.
You can't. You can only inspire them by modeling the behavior yourself. And that requires a huge first step of acceptance. Let them be.
Let your spouse sit on the couch if that's what they're choosing.
Right. And once you've truly accepted that, you can pivot to influence using this technique called the ABC loop.
Okay, let's break that down. What's step A?
Step A is apologize, then ask. You have to sincerely apologize for any past nagging. That disarms them.
And then you ask open-ended questions.
Questions focused entirely on their feelings. So instead of why don't you exercise, you ask, how does feeling tired all the time make you feel?
Oh, that's smart. It creates internal tension for them. They have to confront the gap between their actions and their own desires.
Exactly. The motivation becomes internal, not external. Then step B is you back off completely. You observe their behavior, no more reminders.
You let them own that tension you just created.
You do. And then step C, celebrate progress while you continue to model the change.
So the second they do something positive, you reinforce it.
Immediately. With specific praise. I was so impressed you went for that walk today. You're using neuroscience to link that difficult action with the pleasure of recognition.
And that boosts their own intrinsic motivation to do it again.
Precisely.
So finally, let's touch on the hardest application of this. Supporting someone who's really struggling. Addiction, depression.
Where does let them fit with real support? It's a tough one. But the hard truth is you cannot want their healing more than they want it for themselves when you're constantly rescuing and enabling someone.
Paying their rent, making excuses.
We're actually preventing them from facing the natural consequences of their actions. And sometimes that pain is the only thing that creates the will to change.
So true support sometimes means stepping back.
It means providing boundaries, not bailouts. You have to. You have to let them drop the ball so that they can finally choose on their own terms to pick it up again.
So this deep dive has really shown that the let them theory, especially when you pair it with the 5-second rule, it's a practical shield.
It is. It protects your peace, your confidence, your energy by forcing your focus back to the only thing you truly have dominion over.
Which is yourself. You are responsible for your own happiness, your own health, your own decisions.
And that brings us to, I think, a really important question about freedom. The sources are very clear on this.
If you are financially or emotionally dependent on other people.
If they're paying your bills, if they hold the keys to your career, if your peace depends on their mood, they effectively get to vote on your life.
So if you want the real freedom to live your life, to fully use this let them philosophy without, catastrophic consequences.
You owe it to yourself to build your own independence.
So the question for you listening today is this. What single step can you take this week to gain just 1% more financial or emotional independence?
Because the power has always been within you, it's time to take it back.